Penny, we were just talking before I hit the record button. It has been a long time. Massive, massive respect for you, your career, how you've represented comedy, how you've represented Canadian comedy, how you've represented Black Canadian comedy. My friend, you are a godfather to a lot of folks out there who have been able to go on that stage in front of a microphone and make people laugh. You are a master, my friend. Thank you so much for doing this
Thank you.
interview with,
And
with me.
these days, I feel like I'm sitting in the garden with orange peels trying to scare a grandchild. I drink, I drink more wine than I used to. There's never enough time, Michael. Never enough time.
Now, when you think about your career, what do we talking? 30, 40 years? How many years are we talking here?
40, 45 on stage.
Wow.
The last day job I had was, I think, 1984. Oh, excuse me, 3 years when I worked Flow Radio. Isn't that something? I work on radio and call that a day job. So that tells you how blessed I've been.
And we've been blessed with your comedy and making us laugh. But when you think about what you've done, the boundaries that you've broken down to get where you are today, do you think about that and all the struggles and the things that you've had to do and where you had to go and to carve your original style of comedy, and then with the Nubian disciples and creating a group and helping them get their stage also? Do you think about all the achievements that you've done?
I do, and then I think of everything I didn't do. Like, I guess that's human nature. So like, I'll get with my kids in a, long car ride, and I'll tell them, well, I feel bad that, maybe if I wasn't as abrasive and more mainstream, that y'all could have grown up in a house with a pool in the yard. And they said, yeah, but you took us to the public pool down the street whenever we wanted to go. And I said, that's not the same, you know. But then I think about how, I've shared this stage with, with Sam Kinison, Jim Carrey, Dave Chappelle. When Norm Macdonald first came to Toronto, he crashed on my couch for a couple of days. My son asked me years ago, you ever hear of a comedian named Kevin Hart? I said, go in the garage, look at a box of receipts, and you'll get some Kevin Hart autographs right next to the low amount of Canadian money I paid him when he drove from Philly.
Wow.
So I remember, Russell Peters, him saying, well, can you help me out? I said, I don't know. And then saying, well, I'd like to play the Apollo. I said, kid, they'll eat you at the Apollo. Well, no, they eat him up at the Apollo. He plays the Apollo. So both Russell, him, and my opinion have changed. And the Apollo has changed, So, I always go back to when the Nubian started, I used to say if there were four black people in the audience, they was Ronnie Edwards comics. You know, because there was Ronnie, myself, Gene Clark, and then on the other there was Evan Carter,
Yes.
OG Evan. Evan was here when I got here, and God bless Evan, always a gentleman, always a class act. He got here, he was ready to do the corporate stuff. I came gunning for him because I wanted to be the head HNIC. And, he was a son of a judge. He didn't have that attitude that I had. It was, oh, man, I just want to do my stuff. So it was good. Well, you go be Cosby. I'm going to go be Pryor. And, you know, so, and Greg Morton, who I never understood why I've seen audiences lift him on their shoulders and pass him around the room. I never understood why, the industry or the gods did not, me, I could always say, well, you're rude, you're belligerent, you don't always color within the lines, but I never saw a reason why he should have been, denied that star. But the bottom line is, you get what you're supposed to get at the end. Otherwise, you got to go, So, I'm happy and I'm proud, and ecstatic for the success of any of the younger comics I've been able to influence or open a door for over the years. Uh, at the same time, I see comics that have been, highly respected and highly paid, and I say, well, on my best days, I could have took her down. So, it's there's always going to be that, but thank goodness, thank God, there is that little bit in me Like I said, I had lunch with Mark Breslin, or coffee with Mark Breslin a couple of years ago before when the pandemic was just starting. And I said, yeah, I got to keep writing new material because I keep hoping I'm going to get that new hit that puts me at the top again, or puts me, yes, Just for Laughs wants to have you finally, or yes, that now, but in the meanwhile, I'm grateful for XM radio
Yeah.
because the comedy channels play my stuff on there, and I couldn't have got by. I couldn't have got by without the Sound Exchange royalties. So, now I'm saying, well, you better write you another hit for the radio. So, I write about, so Black Lives Matter. I got a whole nice little chunk on that. Now I'm worried. I had a bit about, who we are going to put on the $5 bill. They were talking about Terry Fox. And I had this bit, I want Terry Fox on the 5, not because what he did for cancer, not because he was courageous. I said, I want Brother Terry because he pimp walked across Canada. So then I do the takeoff of the Terry Walk Shuffle, right? Well, now that them anti-vaxxers went and desecrated his statue in Ottawa, I got to wonder if I could get away now with the Terry Fox joke before people, oh, that's hilarious. Oh, that's terrible. Shame. But now that's disrespectful. He was a hero. How could you make fun of a genuine, so I don't know if the actions of some other people have interfered with what I want to try and do now, But I'm still trying to, I'm losing friends with this anti-vax thing. But I got a whole bunch of freedom riffs now. Well, you don't want a vax, you don't want a mask. I want to be able to smoke in theaters, in hospitals, and in elevators. Again, freedom. Why can't I go to the bathroom in a public pool? Freedom. And then, of course, as I do, I take it to even a couple of more extremes, because you're a class act and gentleman. I'm not gonna desecrate your show with the stuff that I'll say for the stage that I'll be hitting soon. But let's say it involves things between a man and a woman that some may call obscene, others may call it standard porno fare. But just pulling that off and freedom. So, where does your freedom begin when everybody else's inconvenience begins?
Truth.
So, and now we got Whoopi in trouble.
Mm.
And she's gonna have to change her last name if nothing else. But but Whoopi been getting in trouble. So is this the final one, or is she really the Teflon Don? She didn't get they were mad, but they didn't cancel her after Ted Danson. And then after she said Truman Capote wasn't really raped, she somehow managed to get out of that one. And then, she didn't work for a while after offending the supporters of George Bush. But, but then there she was again. So now will she be able to come, or maybe she just needs to live in that big old house of hers with all of her kin folks and grandchildren and say, well, I got enough royalties coming in. I don't have to worry. There will always be groceries on the shelf. So we don't know. We're living in the weirdest times, bro.
We are. I wanted to make sure that I wore this shirt.
I saw that, and then I got my prior shirt.
There you go. And these two were my influences growing up. Okay, who was your influence growing up?
This is the man that I believe that made me want to be a comic.
Mm-hmm.
But my mother told me that when I was like 18 months, 2 years old. My dad and her, we were living in Chicago, went to see Red Fox at the Regal Theater in Chicago. And they brought me with. So technically, I had no idea what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I was there, and he came out with a pair of, he goes, I got my alligator shoes. And he had alligator shoes, but they still had the heads of the alligators on the toes. Alligator shoes. They could try to rob me. He gonna get bit, So, and there's many times on stage, I'll deliver something, or I'll find my body posture something. And I'll go, I said, was that Red Fox inside you again? That just came out and just dropped that line? Or was that Fred that just told that heckler something that you standing like, what you gonna do about it, And so I have to really believe that as much as I bang the drum of Richard, You know, I really believe that Red Fox is in there, you know, straighten your tie, dummy. You know, but then again, I've been blessed. I've been able to make a little bit of money doing these comedy workshops through Windows of Opportunity, which our headquarters is a different book list at Bathurst and Bloor.
Yeah.
So I've been doing comedy workshops, and I go back to before I ever knew or thought of doing stand up. I read Dick Gregory's book Nigger.
Yes.
And Dick Gregory said, reason I spend most of my money on wardrobe because some people only go out once a month. And you may be the closest thing to a celebrity they ever know. So you should look like one.
True. Is that,
So
and that's why you dress the way you do, because you're always fine. Always fine.
I got to be sharp, and to me, that was part of, couldn't be a gangster or PIMP. So, but you're going to be in showbiz. You can, they all dress for after hours. So, and like I tell young comics, I had to learn to curtail. I used to tell them, dress like you want to get laid. And then I had a female comic, beg your pardon? And I said, no, dress like you said, you want to be as attractive and as desirable as possible. So that's why I said, think about how you look. Think about what you project. Think about your energy. Think, before you say anything, the crowd sees what you look like.
Truth. But that's in not just in comedy. That's in life in general.
Oh, I told the kids the other day how my father is one of them. Don't let me leave the house without shining my shoes.
Shoes. Thank you.
Brothers.
Repeat that again, please, because I try to pass that same message out there.
But you can't, because now the kids are wearing nothing but Jordans and sneakers.
True.
See, our fathers, a shoe shine job may have been the first job they got when they, and then some of them knew when they got hired as railroad porters that they still had to shine some shoes besides me. And then they couldn't even hope to get a tip. They had to leave them shoes outside the, or the little box outside the sleeping people's berth.
That's
and
true.
if those people put their shoes in there, they were expected to be shined. And my old man, you say you judge a man by the shine of his shoes.
That's true.
But now we wearing sneakers and we don't pull our pants up.
Yeah.
I don't pull my pants up because I got my mother's Scandinavian flat ass. and it doesn't matter how much, since I've lost all this weight, doesn't matter how many holes I punch in a belt, I'm pulling them pants up. It cost me $65 for I had 2 pairs of pants at $65 a pair. So I paid $130 plus tax to get 2 pairs of pants taken in so I could salvage 2 suits. The jackets, some of the jackets I couldn't salvage. 2 jackets I were salvageable, so I had to say, well, what were these pants? So she had to take in the waist.
Mm.
Okay, so that was some monies. Then she had to take in the seat. Right? So I ain't got like a big diaper looking. Then she had to take in the legs so it didn't look like I was wearing riding pants. So there was like, so waist, ass, and inseams, not the length, but the cut of the, and she wasn't making them like those skinny ones that all the young boys wear with the short jackets, just so I didn't look like, what the hell is this coming? Yo, man, why you got the Elephant Man's trousers on? So we had to take all that in. So it was like $65 just for each pair of pants to even be able to salvage,
Yeah, but you saved time though, so you didn't have to go running around shopping to look for this stuff. So
well, I couldn't shop because now that I'm this size, I'm too slim for the big man store.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Canadian men's store, and yet you go to the regular stores and it's like, we still don't only go bigger than a 42. Oh, so now that I'm down to a 50, I shouldn't be grinning too much. And then when they crossed that, when they closed those borders, so it wasn't that quick run down to Buffalo to go to United Men's a warehouse down on Bailey Avenue. Just tell them Brother Kenny sent you. So you go there and where can I get this purple check suit from? Well, you can only go, you can only go there to get the suits that the brothers of the church are wearing.
Truth.
Truth. Where can I get a pair of red and black 2-tone patent leathers? I gotta go to Buffalo if I want to get them. Well, they crossed the border on me, and then they opened it up for 1 week, and then I found out because I didn't fill out that form that I could have been like put in jail for another week and $14,000. But I went down there and they didn't even have what they used to have.
Wow.
you know?
Hmm.
I said, man, I said, I've been dreaming of nothing but getting back here for 2 years. And they said, brother, we about 2 years ago we had what you wanted.
But you know what? When you talk about 2 years, let's even talk about further than that. Let's go maybe 20 or 30 years
Mhm.
as you're developing your comedy. How do you think your comedy has changed and what you can say and do from back then to today? Because this political correctness, incorrectness, does it interfere with the way you want to tell your stories?
No, because they canceled me a long time ago. I didn't know. They didn't have the decency or maybe they were just too kind to say, "Oh no, we can't allow that."
Explain that, because when you say you were canceled years ago, can you explain that and why and how?
I don't. Okay, they didn't call it cancel. Then they just said you're a little bit too extreme for our taste. We think you're hilarious. We just don't know what to do with you.
What?
So, but that was one out of a million. These brothers,
Hmm.
they was exceptions. They weren't rules. And if I was in the United States, like, I still cry that everybody when I was younger said, "Oh, you too rough for LA, you too rough for LA." So I never thought that, so I listened to people and never thought, well, you can't go to LA because you're not Jerry Seinfeld and you're not Gary Shandling and you're not. And then meanwhile, then I went and started a family. I went down to San Francisco because I was going to get all political and social commentary, and then had a baby and what have you. So we came back here for healthcare, and so I knew I'd have regular gigs so I could pay child support and know that child never know that she won't have Pampers, and Daddy's gonna take you for a pony ride at the circus on the parking lot of Scarborough Town Center.
Hmm.
So so got to do all those. Baby, you want to ride an elephant? We can do it. So now you can't do it because it's cruel to have an elephant at a circus. Did you ever see when the circus used to be at Scarborough's Town Center,
Yeah,
and
I
they
remember.
had them elephants out there by the Toyota thing, and they
Yep.
had their elephant nailed down in the middle, and then they just grazing.
Yeah, I
And back
remember,
then
man.
I said, man, with this neighborhood the way it's changed, they lucky somebody don't get homesick and jack one of them elephants. Just go down, just go down Midland or something. you know that would have been beautiful,
you know,
but you can't get an elephant at a circus now, no matter how big the train is.
no, because it's all changed. One of the things I remember Richard Pryor saying, and I want to see what you think about that. He always said that he never used the F word as the punchline. It
Yeah,
was
it's
to
not the
help.
punchline.
It had to help. It had to be used in a way to help tell the story. How do you feel about that?
I believe for me it's rhythm.
Hmm.
Like, I can drop it if I'm trying to audition for, or if I know I'm doing a corporate gig. Not many of them, thank goodness. For the money they pay you, it's a lot of crying and soul searching and feeling bad about myself before I go get it. And then after I get it, they make me feel so bad for what I did think that was acceptable. I say, I don't feel bad for not getting these $2,000 gigs too often. Kenny, we got 75. I'll take it. $2,000 ones. Like, even when I did political and social commentary, they well, we're basically conservative here. Now I got in trouble for doing Obama material.
Ooh.
They oh
Ooh.
they didn't like me talking about how Obama's been treated. Oh, you know. So don't bring that up. One of the last great times when I played the club in Niagara Falls. For years, people leave offended by something I say.
Hmm.
Oh, But this time, I got that good kind of trouble for the people in the back. I got that good kind of trouble. There were some Americans in the audience, and they didn't like my pro-Obama stuff. So the guy's leaving,
Uh,
and I said, well, feel free to try to get some free health care on your way out. You know, and and he's out there with the manager, and I hear that when the doors open, and he's arguing with the manager. I've never heard such liberal garbage in all my life. And I started dying. I said, oh man, they complaining because I'm liberal. And I said, I've been profane, I've been obscene, I've been misogynist. I said, and now that I'm happy that there's a black prez, I'm too liberal, So I'm just going like, man. And I said, well, then where's all the liberals? Where's all the left wingers going to book me? I said, you're still too offensive and politically incorrect for them to embrace. So when I say I've been canceled for a long time, maybe that's just me saying that I didn't get a lot of opportunities and gigs that like I don't work from early November to the end of December because that's sometime in the late 80s somebody said, hey, let's bring our company Christmas party to a comedy club. Well, after that happened, then I became unbookable in clubs during that 6-week span because Christmas. So meanwhile, ain't nobody more Santa than me. I make my donations to all the different Santa Fund suits. Back when I was a young man, when I was running the streets, I bought me a Santa outfit. So I had all the ladies. So I had to go do that backdoor Santa. I said, and I come dressed with each one with 8 Christmas gifts. And then eventually one said, how come you got a big bag of gifts and I'm only getting one? Then they was onto my game. But, I'm your backdoor Santa, so, in fact, when I see my Jewish comic friends bragging about all their Christmas gigs, I'm going, damn. Well, there's got to be a Hanukkah party for me somewhere. They say, no, there isn't, Kenny. So,
Let me jump in because you brought up something that I've actually watched on social media. A lot of comics have to deal with, and I don't understand this. Why do people go to comedy shows and then complain about it? In fact, not only what you talked about these people walking out these days, and one of the comics that I was watching actually said he thinks it's because of social media. People are getting braver. They will literally walk up on stage and start yelling at the comic for what they said. It's like, why would you go to a comedy show and then all of a sudden get all offended and angry? Because I know for myself, especially when I used to have the braids, I'd go to the show, but I'd try to sit back because I know they're going to point me out or something. And when they did, I went along with it because it's part of the show.
Because once upon a time, you had to go along with it because you was the only one looking like you in the audience. And if you dared to be offended or taken back by it, then all of a sudden Rudy ain't got no sense of humor. I remember a comic, every time you see a black guy, hey, man, what's your name? Daniel. That's a strange name for a black man. Did you know that somewhere there's a white man named Delroy? And they go, what it is? It's a hand. So he was, and then they laugh. And I remember one comic saying to me, how come black people don't come to comedy clubs? Don't y'all like comedy? I said, we like comedy. I said, but y'all talking about going camping and all these other things. That's why there was a beautiful thing about the Nubians when we were born, because we had all these comics of West Indian background. And, Mr. Mo was doing patois. Mm-hmm. And then you're talking about bun and cheese, and Kadar talking about each one of his siblings having to go with $10 in a different line at Nob Hill to get the maximum of chicken legs allowed. And then everybody had a bit about their mother whooping them. Yes. Mark Breslin sat there horrified. I've never heard so many people laughing and applauding child abuse before. Well, because everybody got abused. Everybody got a whooping. So it was a common denominator for us. Mm-hmm. And then over the years, then it became Big Mama get the switch. But Pryor first coined that phrase, Big Mama doing that discipline. But then after that, that's a perfect example. Pryor wrote the book, and then we all learned how to make our ABCs by looking at his book. So.
But the thing is, though, I'm not talking about just like being the only black person. I'm talking about white people jumping up on stage on white people. And
that's because we've been fed a diet of you shouldn't be offended, you better not be offensive, and because comedy has become so homogenized that for somebody that isn't homogenized, that isn't play safe to play nice to make nice, they're thrown back by it.
So why go to the show?
because you were fed that comedy's gonna be just ha 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 ha. Not like, ooh, that's cold blooded. There's no, you know, Rick James is the last dude that could record cold blooded.
Yes.
You know, in fact, I remember when I first saw Sam Kinison, I was really, I had taken, I preempted the legalities of a certain substance. I knew it was going to be legal one day. So I said, "Why? Let's go now and avoid the rush." So I remember leaning in with standing room only when the show started, and I could have laid down about 6 chairs when it was over. Sam Kinison was at the club in Yorkville, the Yuck Yucks, 1280 Bay Street. See how that is engraved on me? 967-6431 for your reservations. It's 967-6425 if you're a comic trying to get on stage. So how do I get on comedy? Well, you call this number and wait about 3 weeks for them to answer your call. And when you ask them, they'll tell you they're booked up. That's how you start. So Sam Kinison was emptying that room. And I've been getting like beaten up. Oh, you need to tone your stuff down. You need to tone. You're too. And Sam just screaming that scald of the screaming, doing the scream of the scalded. You know, I'm in hell, and you know, and she was a devil's whore. The devil's whore, and like people couldn't get up quick enough. And you know, let's go. And the man like pulling out, dude, handful of money, not even reading the tab. Here, take it. Whatever change, keep it, and just leaving, you know. And then, you know, excuse me. One of Sam's greatest things was in Hamilton one night. He said, "Yeah, some of the people, you know, you laughed because you were offended. Well, here's some people that I bet you wish they wish they could be here." And would you know that man pulled out the obituary page and started naming all these people that died? Yeah, I bet you they could take a joke. I think they'd rather be underground being eaten by worms or listen to me. So, you know, when Sam was just dropping that stuff, this before it became big enough to be banned, just when he was like fired. I just remember leaning against the wall going, cold blooded. I couldn't even laugh. I was like, cold blooded. And to me, that was a compliment to say something. That's cold blooded, you know? So, beautiful story about Breslin and Sam. So the first night, Sam empties the room. You know, like about 3 people. A guy had polio, didn't get the vax. You know, he couldn't get out in time with his crutches. He goes, I'll just sit through this and suffer. And then all of his comics sit in the back. Wow, was that ever insane? Cold-blooded, cold-blooded. Kenny, can you say anything else? Cold-blooded. You know, I was like, you know, I was like shell-shocked by what he dropped. You know, so I wasn't there that first night, but Mark walks up to Sam. Sam's ready to be fired. Because Sam get a lot of firing for emptying a room. Mark Breslin pull out. He says, am I fired? Mark goes, no, you were brilliant. Mark pull out $100 bill. Go, here's a bonus. Wow. He say, yeah, if you do it again tomorrow, I'm gonna give you another bonus. Because Mark loved the fact that he had pushed the boundaries of anything that was acceptable. He was like an Apocalypse Now when they talk about the Brando character. Yeah. He is beyond anything reasonable. You know, so Mark loved the art form, the brazenness, the courage, the outrage. At the same time, he was teaching, you know, us other comics in the back watching, going, you know, I ain't never scared. You know, we were going like, hey, you know, we could. I bet you I could empty a room like that. No, you don't understand. You know, listen to what he's saying. There was no lie in what he was saying. There was some truth, and it was all, you know. But it was you talk about freedom of speech. It was a hard-earned freedom. True. Like I tell comics that when they want to cry about censorship, you know, getting back to your original question about I say, well, you know, freedom of speech, but you know what? You think Lenny Bruce not being able to work was that was part of the whole freedom of speech he paid. Yeah. I said, you got the freedom to say whatever you want, but you may not be booked again. You may not be welcomed at that stage again. Like me, I even got my own rules. You know, I don't announce them. Mm-hmm. But like if I hear a comic doing rape rape jokes, pro rapists, or jokes about that's to me just I don't find them funny.
Yeah.
I'm not saying a rape joke can't be funny, but if it's done artistically well, but many of them just don't, they go for the shock. And, people say, well, you're nothing but shock. Well, but I've mastered it. Like how Brandel's in Apocalypse Now. Horror can be your best friend, your weapon. Well, shock for a comic can be your best friend, but you just can't go out there and be shocking. You got to know it's got to be all planned. And so, there's certain kinds of material that, any show I'm putting on, I don't want to subject my audience or maybe my own sensibilities. So, am I 100% say whatever you want? No. Unless you show me that you can get away with it and say it so that it's justified, and if not, you're willing to pay, you can, maybe an open mic where you can say all that, then, then go to it. I'm not going to try and go, I'm not going to tell my open mic friends that run open mics, don't put him on, he's just terrible shit. My attitude is, well, hey, put him on your show. That way, when he goes, why can't I do your show? I go, you got this show that lets you do your things. I have to explain to some comics that not everybody gets to do every show. There's festivals out, 45 years. On my deathbed years ago, I thought maybe on my deathbeds, I'll make my last words cursing the person that runs this festival for not booking me. And I said, well, if you're going to be your last words, then why would you waste your last words cursing somebody that didn't respect you, dig you, love you, appreciate you? So it better be, I love you, thank you, I've been fortunate to have you in my life, as opposed to, oh, you didn't like what I did, huh? So, there's, like I said, there's, not everybody gets to do everything.
But let's just jump in, though, because when you talk about last show, we're not talking last show here. We're talking next show. You have a show coming up, my friend, with the Nubian Disciples. Where's it going to happen? How's it going to happen? And what can we expect from this?
Well, it's at the birthplace of the Nubian show. Well, we started really at Young and Eglinton, but it's the home of the Nubians. The Yuck Yucks, it's 224 Richmond Street West. And you can get your tickets at yuckyucks.com. Because since pandemic, they don't do box office anymore. So you have to go online to get tickets. And it's going to be a great show. Let's see if I can remember everybody on there. I got, my memory is not, isn't it funny how my memory can be great on some things and so faded on other things?
Hey, it happens to us, my brother. It happens to us.
Hey, I'm 64 and I drank out of a lot of. Remember back in the 60s, we had those different colored aluminum cups?
Yeah, still have them.
I used to love them. Well, apparently, there's more of a toll on you than you realize. But, got a great show. We got a girl named Bougie. Bougie, then she's got something, then Bougie B, Bougie or something like that. And I worked with her when they first reopened and then shut down. Mm-hmm. I did a show with her, and she's hardcore. She's kind of blue, and so I said, well, it's about time. It's about time that that the Nubian stage be graced with her presence. Also, there's a comedy improv duo named Coco and Joe, and they're very popular on the improv scene and what have you, and the duo scene. Now, the Nubian show, we've always been straight stand up. We've had a guest spot from a comedy duo from Barbados called Rum and Coke. We've had them. And they were great. We had two raw girls from out west named The Dirty Show. And it was great. There was a family of people from New York on vacationing, and when one girl put her foot up on the table and then was gyrating her moneymaker, and these like 17-year-old sons with their mom and dad, so then he moved, stood by, the whole family left. And I said, you know how raw you gotta be? I said, we chased out some New York Puerto Ricans.
Oh my goodness.
He said, "You made them Puerto Ricans look for home," you know. And the father looked at me and says, "We went to Second City last night." I said, "Well, we ain't Second City, cuz." I said, "We ain't even a fifth city. This is the Nubian show. This is Chocolate City, you know." So it's like, well, yeah, I guess you might. Seconds, you may have said, let's see all this Toronto comedy scene, but you weren't pre-warned about us. So anyway, so we have had comedy duels before, but these ladies are coming up and they're doing improv. So it's the first time having improv on our stage.
Great.
Tamara is a great comic. I love her. She's been working hard. Tamara Siobhan, so she'll be on the show. Also, Shay Durena, who's very funny. He's doing him and two other boys have been doing a tour across Canada in a time of lockdown and no hotels. And I said, just to the fact that you cats out there grinding, you're gladiators. And then there's a young man named Hisham. Hope I got it correct. Coletti. See, when Nubian started, we all had like colonial names, but since it got, I've had to learn, more pronunciation of third world names or motherland names that kind of. What's it, So I got on your phone where you can get pronunciations
Yes.
on. So I'm up there listening to the pronunciation on YouTube before I bring the cat on because I'm trying to get it right.
I got to do the same thing, man. Absolute
Yeah.
same thing. But I'm doing some of these interviews.
In a similar universe, somewhere there's a dude struggling over Rudy. Red wine, which almost sound like a Jamaican brother. What up, Red wine? What up? Oh, that's Rude Boy. Red boy. So, Hashim. He does this great bit about his mother was a freedom fighter back in their home country, and his uncle told her that your mother has 9 confirmed kills. In fact, it's on the Nubian CD, our anniversary the next 25 that we released. 25 cuts. I'm not even doing any of the cuts. I didn't feel that any of my material was running on then should be on there because when I come with someone. And so I said, well, let me push these people up there. And the beautiful thing about the CD is I could have had more artists on there, but it was 25 artists already, 22 artists, 25 cuts. And then I had another problem. Some of the comics I really wanted to be on it. One was busy writing for a television show out in Halifax, so she couldn't be there.
That's still good.
And then others had exclusive deals with other comedy record. Did I just say their name? Comedy record. Other comedy recording companies. So they're exclusive. So I couldn't get Arthur Simeon. I couldn't get Chris Robinson. I couldn't get because they were already signed.
Love
Chris.
Chris.
What should Knight have done? Well, he'd have gone to jail eventually. So, just be Quincy and just say, okay, well, who else can I put into the vibe? So, that's been a minute I heard it, I knew it was going to be a hit. And I said, if I can get an airplay stateside, because anytime they can get Your Mama Got 9, 9 confirmed kills, back in the motherland. And he says his country is the only country that's never been war free in the last 50 years and also never conquered. So, and he's a brilliant young man. And so he's going to be on the show. What I've done now is I used to have like 7 or 8 comics, because of the virus, I've reduced it to 5, but everybody's doing more time than they used to.
That's good. So
they get more time to stretch their legs. If they want to record something, they've got more time to work on that. And so it's truly like you really got to be doing something now. I'll still throw somebody the first opportunity like Bougie. I'm giving to get on there because you got to always have that fresh talent coming in, or else
Yes.
what are we? And I still got to bring in somebody that's going to say something nobody's heard before. So many times I used to like to come, but so-and-so kept doing the same jokes for 7 years. I said, well, it takes sometimes 5 years to write a brand new 20. Well, it take me longer to than have the spare ticket money. So it's a great show. And like I said, you can get your tickets at yuckyucks.com. Limited seating. We can only have 50% capacity, or I
Yes.
think we're allowed 180 people now
Mhm.
in the venue. Used to be allowed to have 320. So I think we're allowed a little bit more than half now. But we're still and the fact now that because I'm putting on fewer comics, the stage time and the opportunity means more. So everybody's coming for real, and we still, I still say we're the hottest show in Canada, and I'm booking at that to keep it that way. That's the way it's been for 25. And the other good thing about it is if anytime your ass ain't hot and ain't rocking and ain't bringing it, that crowd will boo you. Over the years, they've got less booey. And I had to explain to them, no, the thing that made the Nubian show is if you think a comic didn't come prepared, didn't come right, didn't come ready to rock it, then he's disrespecting you. He's disrespecting your cover. He's disrespecting the Nubian. He's disrespecting your mama who's babysitting your children, who's going to be mad because you and your date stood out late last night. And I said, so you've got the right to boo. And comes like, I can't believe you're telling the audience to boo me. I said, well, then come right.
Truth.
Come prepared. This is not an open mic. Don't come like, what else? What else? Boo! That's what else. So, the booing, I hope that never goes if somebody's not delivering.
That's old school, my friend.
I
Look,
told him, I said, do not accept the mediocrity that you can see the other nights of the month at any given comedy show.
absolutely,
And
my
that's why people
brother.
don't like me. I'm calling everybody else's show mediocrity.
Because you speak the truth. Thank you so much for this
Thank you.
interview. And more importantly, like I said, man, thank you for being the inspiration that you are for Canadian black comedy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's been, and I love your studio, man.
I'm going to leave it to that.
A lot of brothers got paid over the years and spent it on wine and women and things, but you put your money in something that will generate future funds. And as you see me, I got one single broken ass lamp and suits that don't fit me no more. So I truly have to pay homage and respect to a brother that was wise, and not only did he hustle wisely, but he saved his money, and whatever he did, he used amazing wisdom.
I'll
What
send
you
you
see
the
is what you get.
I'll send you the picture. Thank you so much for the interview, man.
Love you, man. Thank you very much.